Welcome everybody. Let's get started. My name is Neil Thompson, and it is my great pleasure to welcome Mr. Sen and all of you to tonight's teleseminar. And because of the number of people on tonight's call, if you have any questions, please write them down and email them to us. And Mr. Sen will try to answer as many of your questions as possible in next week's Wednesday's call. And I would like to congratulate Mr. Sen for being the feature story in Mayfield magazine. And Mayfield, it's spelled M-E-H-F-I-L, and it's available at bookstores and newsstands across Canada, and also available on the as an in-flight magazine for Air Canada and Air India. And also for our international listeners, you will also be able to read the feature article online at mayfieldmagazine.com. And what we'll do, we'll send out an email in the next day or so, and you can get the link and you can read the article. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to read an excerpt from the article, which I feel captures the heart of Mr. Sen and his teachings. And the actual editor of the magazine, he attended the last seminar that we held in Vancouver in September. And part of the article reads, quote, "He begins the day-long session with a simple statement. I am not the hero here. You are the hero. Get the teachings. Forget the teacher." And he goes on to explain that the workshop will not be about breaking bricks with one's head. Rather, it will be about controlling one's thoughts to break free from the shackles of the mind and learn how to get what you want out of life. And then the article continues, quote, "The charismatic and eloquent Sen, who can be described as equal parts romantic, philosopher, and entrepreneur, uses poetry, parables, and lessons and etymology to impart the wisdom of a lifetime of study and practice to his students. He says, everything we touch, taste, smell, hear, and feel, says Sen, was created by consciousness. Our very lives and the circumstances that surround us were created by our own consciousness. It is not a simple concept to grasp and is a bitter pill to swallow for some, he says, but it is the truth. The good news is that you can change your circumstances by changing your thinking, he says, unquote. So I urge everyone to read this article when you receive the email from us, and you'll have the link to the story, this feature story with Mr. Sen. And you know, Mr. Sen, he's traveled around the world teaching with this message of success. And I have always been intrigued, and there's one question he asks everyone, one single question. And he even asked me this one too when I met him. And it is, are you planning to live the rest of your life with what you're doing right now? And that question is very penetrating. I'll repeat it. Do you plan to be doing what you're doing now for the rest of your life? And then he would say, you have to find out what you want. And he was teaching the way to find out and then follow your bliss. So Mr. Sen will continue tonight on this quest, and the topic is how we can have giant visions and manifest them. So I'll let Mr. Sen tell us how to do that tonight, and welcome Mr. Sen to tonight's call.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you very much. And welcome everybody. And that's truth. Each one of us is a hero. A hero is one who is willing to face obstacles to reach their goals. The idea, the biggest problem that we have is the goal, not our willingness to pursue the goal. It has become almost like chicken or the egg. People think, I want to be successful. The greatest problem we have is our incapacity to set visions. And more than that, if the vision is bigger than ourselves. And remember one thing, and we should all remember, setting goal is everything about success. Everything else is a corollary to that. Or you have to have a motif. An artist requires a motif. He may have all the paint. He may have the canvas. But if he does not have a motif, the passion, he may have the landscape before him. But what is he going to express of that landscape? Otherwise, it will be one of those sofa paintings which you can get on the sidewalk when you go on a journey in the country road. Just paintings. And most people's lives are like that. Just paintings. Anything they could splash on and looks pretty good, and you hang it up on top of the sofa without any meaning behind it. It looks good. It's got good colors. That's why do you think people pay so much for a Van Gogh or Renoir? Because the motif, it will raise your mind to a different level the moment you watch it. You can feel the artist. We don't say it is a picture of a woman. We say that's a Vinci, Leonardo da Vinci. We don't say that is a landscape. We say that is Van Gogh. What we have to remember, vision is everything in our life. How to set the vision is the heart of success. And why can't we set a vision? Because of our belief level. The whole story. We don't believe we can have it. I got a question from somebody here that if I said, I can understand, since last seminar, she sent the question saying that, for example, the plate of food. I want a plate of food, and the food manifest. I have to put it in my mouth. Something like we know that we have, but the question is, what food did you vision? When the food comes in, of course we'll eat it. What food did we vision? Did we vision a meal or a specific meal? Did we get the dessert of our choice, or did we say just dessert? It is too vague. That she said, what tactical thought and action? But there must still be a tactical thought and action, or it doesn't happen fully. This is exactly what we were discussing last time. When you set a vision, and you already know you have it, you don't need to take any tactical vision consciously. Tactical move consciously. Those tactical moves, if it is necessary, will arrive. You cannot do anything. Those tactical moves will arrive. Because if you try to accomplish the goal, you cannot. Unless it's a goal from the mind. You see, the whole idea is we live in a world with too much head and too little heart. Our belief system is produced by a memory of our past experiences. Our belief system is our tendencies, our sense of interpretation as per our upbringing, culture, schooling, etc., 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 as King of Siam would say. Why is it so hard to set a vision bigger than our current circumstances? It's not hard. We have to change ourselves. You see, we cannot change anything in our life. We can only change our thinking process, and everything else will change. Let me go back to the story I told you about already 2 or 3 times. And there is a lot more to that story than meets the eye. Let us go back to the story of the lion and the goat. Many of you have joined recently, and for them I will tell you the story once more quickly. But it's such an interesting story. Every time I tell this story or I hear this story, you won't believe this. It brings up new meanings, new paradigms. There was this lioness, that a hunter shot. And they dragged the body of the lioness away, but they didn't see that there was a cub left behind. There were a bunch of goats around in that place, and this goats took pity on this lion cub and brought it up as one of their own. So when this lion cub was brought up as a goat, it lived like a goat. It grew up as a goat. It ate leaves like a goat, grass like a goat, walked like a goat, bleated like a goat, yet it was a lion. Then, one day, when the goats were grazing in the field, up in the hillock, a magnificent, beautiful lion with a huge mane stood on the hillock and roared. All the goats ran helter-skelter. They could not run faster. And this goat, which is a lion, this lion who thought he was a goat, did not run. He felt a sort of kinship. And when he saw that lion coming down, the huge lion coming down to meet him almost nose to nose, and the lion said, "Why do you eat leaves? You should be eating meat." And he says, "I'm a goat. I eat leaves and grass." Then he says, "No, you are a lion." He says, "Me." He says, "Why do you bleat? He says, you should be roaring." He says, "No, I am a goat." And he bleated. So this lion took this little lion cub next to the pond and told him, "See my face?" He said, "Yes." "And see the reflection of my face on the pond." He saw it. He said, "Yes, it looks like you." He said, "Now see your face, the reflection of your face in the pond, and look at my face." Yes. He looked and he roared. He was a lion. He said, "I am a lion." And then he stopped eating meat, leaves and grass. He started eating meat, and he roared. Now, this story I've told you at least 3 times in this series of teleseminars, and you should never forget it. I've been listening to this story since I was a little boy. See, there was a major paradigm shift. Paradigm means self-image shift, thinking pattern shift. This lion cub was in essence a lion while it believed itself to be a goat. Why was it afraid to become a lion? The question is very simple. It was afraid to become a lion. It clung on to the paradigm of a goat. It was easy. It was comfortable. You don't have to hunt. You'll find food when you wake up. You'll be sleeping on your food. A lion has to chase live animals. A lion goes hungry some days. This was not a comfortable paradigm shift. This was a vision bigger than himself. And even when he knew that he was a lion, because all the other goats ran away. The goats ran away, the lion cub didn't. And what do you think? He went to that pond every day to have his drink of water. And he saw his reflection every day. Do you realize that he didn't see the lion in the reflection? He saw a goat. He saw himself as a goat. The lion is the king of the forest. It's too much of a responsibility. We don't want to be divine. We want to be human. That's much more comfortable. Why can't we set a goal, a vision bigger than our current circumstances? The vision our heart wants and our mind doesn't want to believe. Our belief system is produced by our memory of past experiences. There's a goat experience. Our goat experiences, that's what we want to cling on to. Our belief system is our tendencies, our sense of interpretation. As I told you earlier, our upbringing, culture, in a university, friends, environment. We cannot change our circumstances. If I tell you that, you'll say, what are you talking about? You know we cannot change our circumstances. That's absolutely impossible. Instead, you have to realize the truth. There are no circumstances. You'll say no circumstances. I'll say you can't change the circumstances. You can only change yourself. It's not the circumstances that change. It's you and I who change. We are what we think. Our circumstances do not make us. Just let us admit, and our circumstances don't make us. It may perpetuate what we have made ourselves into. Our circumstances only shows us what we have been visioning. A good example would be circumstances is like the mirror. The whole universe is like a mirror for us. Each one of us lives in our own universe. We live in a world we've imagined. We cannot live anywhere else. We can be in the same room, all of us, and we'll be living in separate, different rooms. In the same room is what we see. Our eyes don't see. Eyes is an instrument of seeing. If we wear glasses, the glasses don't see. It is an instrument through which we help us to could get through our retina and go back to the vision center, and our heart sees, processed by mind. So you see, it's like a mirror. You can't go and wipe off the mirror and change the vision on the mirror. Our circumstances is only our reflection. I saw a movie once. This guy was so drunk and he was beaten up, so he went in front of the mirror and took a Band-Aid and put it on the reflection of himself. and said, now I'm going to fix you. You're not supposed to drink anymore. The whole audience laughed. The movie theater, everybody started laughing. That was an act of a comedian. We're trying to change our circumstances without changing ourselves. This lion cub also was trying to say, I don't want to change my circumstances. I'm a goat. Because he saw his image every day. And what he saw was what is inside him. He was a goat, not a lion. So this pond and this lion is the 4 proclamations, the ancient secrets of success. The first part of the book of Ancient Secrets of Success is the lion, which gives him a lesson on his lionhood. The second part of the book of Ancient Secrets of Success for Today's World is the pond, and the lion himself saying, look at my face, and then look at your reflection there. And he saw it, and he says, I am a lion. You see, you cannot vision more than you are. We have to increase ourselves first to increase our vision. We can go to all the seminars in the world. Most of us are having a terrible time because we live in a world of duality. What is the duality? Mind and body. We're trying to change the mind with body with the mind. But that is ridiculous. You cannot do that. The mind is a part of the body. Ask any neurologist, ask any scientist. Go to webmd.com. They'll tell you the mind is a part of our neuron system. And we are trying, and we can, altered state of mind. We can use mesmerism, hypnotism, and we can create austerities. In India, when you go to India, where I come from originally, there are guys who are sitting in a bed of nails, lying down. They're not bleeding. They are using their mind to control their body. But they're still there trying to make some money. When you reach that stage, when you really attain, duality creates limitations. But when you see the unity of the consciousness, when you add the third element, perfect balance between consciousness, mind, and body, then mind and body takes the back seat, because consciousness creates the mind and body. That's why the 4 proclamation is the mirror, is the pond, the reflection of who we truly are. That is why it is so important that to read that book gives you 2 aspects. The lion, it tells you that you are not a goat, you're a lion. And the second aspect, second part tells you how to believe that is true, that you are a lion and you have nothing to be afraid of. A lion is the lion eats goats. You don't have to get up on your food, then you'll end up as a food. The whole idea is to realize that a vision is so important, and your vision can only be built by your paradigm, your thinking pattern. So that's why last time we were talking about, now let's go down to the fact that setting a goal and a vision is fundamental to success. and I said we should have one single goal. One single specific goal. That you must have one single goal. I'm repeating this so many times. The goal must be specific. 2. 3, you must write the goal down on a piece of paper. 4, it must be kept absolutely secret. But a lot of people say, I have many other goals. No, that once your goal is set, you will automatically arrive. All the other goals that you have is already in your consciousness. And they will, like a mosaic, fit into the goal, the specific goal that you have. The first point, see, now let's go through the process. The first point, saying that you must have a single goal. You may say, I have many goals at the same time. I don't know which one is more important than the other. Let's take an example. Okay. I want to write a book. Make it into a bestseller. I want to change people's lives with this book because the information that I'm going to give in this book has changed my life. Now that's your passion. Then you'll say, now I need the money to have the time and the place to write the book. So while I am writing the book, all my bills will be paid. And at the same time, you could have another goal. I want to be financially independent. I can travel around the world and promote my book without having to worry about money. You also could have another goal that I want to travel with my spouse at the same time, or my girlfriend or my boyfriend, as the case may be, and go through romance in every single city in the world. I want to be in Paris. I want to kiss her on top of the Eiffel Tower and under the Eiffel Tower, along the Seine River in Paris. I want to be in Vienna. I want to be in Copenhagen, Athens, Mumbai, Calcutta. I go to the banks of the Ganges and watch the sunset. One of the many stops promoting the book and romancing with my romance. These are goals and visions. You could also have another goal because you know that out of 6 billion people in this world, living in this world, about 1 billion go hungry. You want to contribute to eradicate hunger from this world as much as you want to maintain the health of this planet. Now we know that we have so many goals. And here, I'm telling you to set one specific goal and concentrate and focus on that goal. It may sound a little odd. This is where many people get bewildered. Why? If you have so many goals, you cannot focus in on any single goal. It is frustrating. And some of us very silently give up. And we don't even know we have given up. That means given up visioning. We go back to our old ways of survival. We know. And with absolute certainty we know that we cannot have one moment of our waking life without a vision. So what vision then we carry? We carry other people's vision when you have given up visioning ourselves. Right at this moment, all of us, each one of us, right now, around the world, we have people around the world listening here. Right at this moment, all of us are carrying a vision. The vision could be of surviving in our job, handling a boss tomorrow, meeting a mortgage next month, working out a contract or a deal, or dealing with some anger issues, arranging a date, taking the children out. We always have something we want to do or required to do. And that is our vision for the moment. So let's come back to the one goal. When I say that I want to write a book and make it a bestseller, the universe is perfectly capable of understanding that I need financial independence. I need the know-how and the money and the things to go around. They know that I'm a romantic. I need the romance. And they know that the universe knows everything. So when you sit in front of your computer and put your fingers on the keyboard, everything is falling into place. Everything will come. I know it comes. It comes in ways that your mind cannot understand now. If it could, that's not a vision. Then it's a to-do list. That's the lionhood in you and me. How can the lion now feel that he has to lion cub now? He can't eat his grass anymore. He cannot eat his leaves anymore because that's too easy. Now he has to work hard for his food. But boy, he's going to exchange his goathood he's going to get rid of his goathood and become a lion. Or would he rather stay a goat? Because he might have to work a little harder, take bigger chances. But then he could be eaten up by another lion. That's why the other goats ran away, ran for their lives. But this lion never has to run for his life anymore. He never has to be afraid anymore. He can be a giant. He can hold his own. He's the king. He's the master of his domain. His power. That is what in exchange he gets. One thing he will not have. He will not sleep on his food. In the morning, get up and eat the same food. That's the goat's privilege, because the goat is the food for the lion. Right? You see, we know vision is life. So when you set that goal, I gave you the example of writing the book. So when you sit down to write the book, and you have all the other goals, you just focus on writing the book, seeing the book as already written, done. Don't think of publishers, don't think of publicists, don't think of anything. Just think. That's tactics. That's what this person that sent the question, that's tactical moves. That'll come. Yes, you will need publicists. Yes, you will need magazine articles. Like the magazine article just has been written, a feature story has been written about me in one of the most powerful magazines, which is really read by business people around the world. And this story of my story, and I didn't chase it. They approached me. They interviewed me. When I was in Vancouver, they sent a photographer, professional photographer, and I felt like a movie star. And they were taking me around. I don't hanker after publicity. But if I get it, it means that the universe wanted it. The book needs to be promoted. And it is everywhere in the world right now. People from Namibia and Africa is listening today. People from Asia are listening today, tonight. And Namibia and Thailand, in Asia is probably morning. Right across America, people are listening. Why? Because I set a goal, and it synchronizes. And this synchronize comes in. So if you have many goals, you'll be scattered all over the place. Set one goal. keep it silent. Why silent? Don't tell anybody. Silence is power. That's why masters throughout history told their students not to talk about their goal. And the second thing, don't try to use the mind. The mind is the computer. Use your consciousness, which is you. Think of this. The computer is not going to write your book. Computer, you will put it together, your book. You are going to write the book. You can have computer-generated books. And there are many books that are now produced computer-generated, but they're cheap, cheap books. Like I said, in the bed of nails. When you go to India, you will see in the streets, people are lying on the bed of nails or getting snake bites and not dying and all kinds of tricks. These are mind tricks, mind-body tricks, and they end up in distortion. They end up in distortion. You're not going to... There's a story I must tell you. One of the... It's an age-old story from India. There was a young monk, young sannyasin. He was sitting on the banks of the Ganges, and for 15 years he did austerities, he did penances and all mind tricks so he could walk over water. And after 15 years, he developed the capacity to walk over waters with his mind. So he walked over the water across the Ganges River to meet his master, which his master was sitting down and meditating on the other side of the bank. And his master, he came to his master and stood proudly in front of him. And he said, I'm here to visit you, to pay homage to you, master. He says, good, take a seat. He said, aren't you impressed? Didn't you see me? I walked over the water. 15 years of penances and austerities and practices made me able to walk over water. He said, well, why did you have to go through 15? His master told him, why did you have to go 15 years? You could have paid 15 years walking over water. You could have paid that boatman a quarter. He would have brought you here 15 years ago. The master was not impressed. Masters don't get impressed with this. The masters get impressed when you become a master. You see, touchstone can only make gold. The real master is one who's a touchstone and makes another a touchstone. Whatever you touch becomes gold. So the mind-body duality is something that will distort and limit us. So to set a vision higher than yourself, you have to reach higher. Your consciousness, your mind should follow your consciousness and train it. And that is why we must have the 4 proclamations. These 4 proclamations are so precious. They are that pond out there, the mirror out there of who you are and who am I. Remember, we cannot change our circumstances as much as we cannot change the reflection on the glass. But we can change ourselves, and the reflection will change. And what we are what we think. Our body will take the shape of our thought. And thought is images. Imagination is not something fantastic. It is the only thing. Today I sent in the Twitter, imagination is the greatest spiritual act. Every moment you are imagining. There are 2 kinds of imagination. voluntary imagination and involuntary imagination. Involuntary imagination is usually recycled imagination, leftovers or somebody else's imagination. And voluntary imagination is choosing the thought you want to think, imaging it. Every thought is an image. I am, therefore I think. I am conscious, therefore I think. You are not because you think. You can only consciousness thinks. And then our mind processes the thought. Our mind is the computer. We are the writer, author. And the printout of that book is the manifestation of the body of our thought. And when you process it, if you don't have the right software in the computer, you would not have a beautiful book. So the consciousness must have full control over the computer. When it types A, it has to type A and not B. So I'll recommend to you, remember the story of the lion and the goat, and you will roar. Like I said, you want to dance. Life is a dance last time. Only romance is only when consciousness leads and the mind follows in the waltz of life. I even hummed you a tune of Lara's theme. Because every time I get into situations like that myself, I hum. I tell the mind, I am the leader. I am going to lead in this dance of life, and you're going to follow. It'll be our romance, our eternal romance. That's why I hum the tune, because that's my reminding myself that life is a romance. And when we get the vision is the child of the romance. Once you vision it, manifestation, you don't have to worry about it. Because when a baseball player hits a home run and he knows it, he just slowly runs across all the bases before the ball has gone across the park. That is a vision. Good night.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sen, for this life-changing talk once again. I would like to remind everyone that it's very important that if you that you have a copy of Ancient Secrets of Success for Today's World, and to read it over and over again, especially the story of the lion and the goat. And I myself, I've read hundreds of books on this subject, and many people have said the same thing that I am saying, that there's no book like it. It is a life-changing book. And it not only it will give you the know-how and knowledge of success, it tells you how to practice success. And that is the big difference between this book and most of the other books that you find out there in the world. It gives you the practice of success. And, success is knowing oneself. And this book, with its 4 proclamations, it shows you how to know oneself. So if you don't have a copy of Ancient Secrets of Success yet, we highly recommend you get the book as soon as possible, and you can order it online by going to www.raiseyourbelieflevel.com. That's raiseyourbelieflevel.com. And so next Wednesday, we will continue on with this series on changing our circumstances, and you should re-listen to tonight's teleseminar. And you'll get an email in the next few days about tonight's recording. And please forward this email to your friends, your relatives, and anybody else in the world you would like to share it with. And also get them to join in next week's teleseminar on Wednesday, October 28th. And they can listen online from anywhere in the world with no long-distance charges. So good night, adieu, auf Wiedersehen, and thank you again, Mr. Sen.